Hello, and thank you so very much for allowing us into your space again. We are continuing on the part one that we started on the people management. So in the very first part, we raised questions regarding why it is difficult to manage people. How come people have, different backgrounds, different, interpretations to things, how they have minds of their own and they can think for themselves. They have their own choices. They appreciate things from different perspectives and all of that. I did also mention that the question of the difficulty of working with people is an old age stuff, and gave some examples to support that. So yes, it is true to work with some other person because we are all not the same. But much as it is difficult for you working with him or with her, it's also difficult for him or her to also be working with you. But at all costs, the question of working together is a necessary evil. I tell people, if you don't want to work with people, I probably have one suggestion for you. Go build your cottage in one forest, live there alone, farm. When you harvest your farm produce, take it to the market in the forest, sell it and buy it yourself, and come back to your own house. If this is not possible, then it is a necessary evil to learn how to manage people, how to work with people. I did establish in the part one that people are composed of different personalities, attitudes, values, perceptions, motives, aspirations, and abilities. And the fact that it is important to understand the behavior of employees in order to manage them. Whatever you do not understand, you are not in a good position to manage. Whatever you cannot measure, you can't manage. So understanding these people, trying to appreciate why he behaves the way he does. Sometimes it just takes a simple meeting between yourself and the next person. You engage, you communicate, and you come to appreciate the underpinning reasons why he behaves the way he does. And you may be on your way to doing the right thing. Now, if managing people is difficult for all the reasons we mentioned, what is the way forward as a way of finding solutions to the difficulties involved in managing people and why we should live together? The first one I wish to talk about is what I call the agreements. The agreement. You see, we actually do not manage people. It's just a subject name we give it. Nobody manages anybody. What we manage is agreements. I say that again. We do not manage people. We manage agreements with people. So if it is a workplace, the work rules are set out and you don't impose it on anybody. You engage people through communication to understand why it should be so. Why do we start work at 7? What are the consequences of not starting work at, say, 8 a.m.? What happens to the customer? And if the customer doesn't buy from us, how do we make money to foot our bills and even pay your salary as a staff? Through that engagement, and you all come to an agreement or a consensus on why it is important to start work at a time and close at another time. When the person fails to obey the time, you remind him or her of the agreement in a bid to respect himself. In a bid to respect himself, his word, his agreement with you is likely to keep to the arrangement you have. And by respecting himself, you are achieving your objective as a business leader, as a manager. Maybe this second example will resonate with you. Let us assume that as a company, we have a uniform, maybe a blue-colored uniform. And for one reason or another, management thinks that you want to change the uniform from blue to, say, gold. Probably because gold as a color resonates with your values or communicates the values of the organization better than the blue. You have one of two choices to make. You can write a memo and put below it by order or by management that from next week, Monday, everybody's supposed to wear gold. Or you call them, engage them on why the blue doesn't communicate your values and what color they think you should wear to resonate with your values. You will hear different colors. Some will mention green, some will mention red, some will mention mauve, white, name it. If you are fortunate enough and any one of them mentions the gold which you had on mind before going to the meeting, it makes your work easier. Even if nobody mentions the gold and you mention the gold, they walk out of the meeting saying that we went to decide to wear gold. Now, the moment people come to that realization of being involved, involvement breeds commitment. Involvement breeds commitment. The moment they know that they were part of the decision-making process, they even share responsibility in enforcing the rule. You don't need to be there for people to. So let's say you have a number of staff. Some wear the gold, some do not. The ones who do not or who are wearing will remind the others. But we all went to meeting and agreed that the first solution to managing people is to understand that, first and foremost, we don't manage people. We manage agreements with people. And agreements are only established through communication and through engagements. The next thing we do is what we call the coaching. The next solution or the way forward is coaching. Now, when I talk about coaching, I'm not talking about teaching. There's a difference between teaching and coaching. Coaching is not teaching. Coaching is not giving directives. Coaching is not giving instructions. So if you tell somebody, move this from point A to point B, you have given instruction. If you tell somebody, you see, it is always good to put it at point B. You are doing teaching. Now, coaching is, a formal, structured discussion that creates a self-awareness in an employee of probably a wrongdoing, for instance, averting the employee to why that act is wrong, the consequences, its impact on the organization and its customers, and testing whether the employee understands the best way to do it. If he doesn't understand the way to do it by his response, that means that there's a skill gap and you may need to enroll that employee for training. But if the employee understands, yet is not committed, then you know that it is a coaching issue. It's a question of motivation. So you walk the employee into coming to a self-realization and preferring a solution. So how do I expect that you will do this next time? The employees, mention to you step by step. Next time, boss, I think this is what I will do. I will do this, I will do that. And then you get his commitment to it. I call it get the staff to handcuff himself and hand over the key to you before he leaves your office. That is about coaching. Now, coaching is a whole topic on its own that in course of this series, we will be handling some other day. Now, when I meet managers who say that coaching is too much time involving and why they don't have time for coaching because it consumes too much time, I tell them, then you don't have time to be a manager because coaching is in tandem with managing. You can't be a manager when you are not prepared to coach. And you waste much more time giving directives and standing on the shoulders of the employees every day compared to the time you should be spending coaching. The next way forward in managing people is about ensuring that there is good human relation skills. Now, I have worked through some organizations here and there where chief executive officers know the name of every employee. A particular top hotel in this country I consulted for, that's a hotel of about 700 employees. I was surprised when I met a chief executive officer on the corridors of the hotel, at the lobby, saw a cleaner, mentioned her by the first name, and made a statement. Your father's surgery is happening next week, Thursday. Am I right? And the employee said yes. So I turned to the CEO, who I was working with because I was going to consult for the organization he presides over. How do you know the name of everybody? To the extent that little things they tell you about things that affect their family, you remember all of them. And then he made a statement I consider quite profound to me. He said, Jeff, once you care about the employees, they care about the organization. If you don't care for the employees, they will not care about the organization and its customers. the human relation skills, caring for non-work related activities that affect your employees. And then finally is the team building laws, which I have shared in some other episode. The law of purpose and vision, the law of integrity and trust, the law of charisma and motivation, the law of communication and information flow, the law of respect and inclusion. Folks, managing people is about creating connections between hearts. It's about tapping into people's conscience, because the leader only succeeds when the followers agree that he does. It is important we appreciate the fact that people grow and mature. So employees grow from being passive to being engaged in increasing activity. They grow from dependence on others to independence. Workers or employees grow from having few ways to behave or doing things to possessing alternatives. They grow from shallow interest in certain areas to deeper interest. They grow from short perspectives to having long-term perspectives. They grow from lack of awareness of oneself to awareness of oneself. Now, who engineers all of these discoveries in them? The leader, the people manager, the head of the department, who have a team to lead and focus their attention and provide strategic direction and ensure that the organization accomplishes its goals. Now, in my concluding statement, whether it is about leading teams or managing people, just know that to be successful at working together with people, you require to see things from people's perspectives, listen and try to understand them before seeking to be understood. And once you care for the people, they will care for the organization. If you don't care for the people, they don't care for the organization. It is that simple a rule. And when you follow some of these instructions, some of these rules, some of these laws that we are sharing with you, you naturally get people following you. I thank you so very much for your time throughout this session. I'm grateful. Thank you.